Hey everybody! So week one wrapped up the 2025 season, and of course my Jackets won, just like I said they would, against the Colorado Buffs and Deion Sanders. So pretty interesting and fun win. That was very fun. Jackets had to freaking give me a heart attack, of course, but they pulled it out in the end. So at the end of the day, a win is a win. We survive in advance. And I thought it would be a good idea to take a look at how the other teams that we're going to face later on this year looked in week one, and kind of get a gauge on maybe their strength and whether or not they're any good. Like I thought might be interesting to take a look at the first impressions kind of each of our opponents. So. Obviously, we wound up beating Colorado. I guess, looking back on Colorado, they're probably not going to be that good of a team, maybe bowl eligible, but they're definitely not, the same without Travis Hunter and Shore Sanders. But obviously, we've talked about Colorado quite enough, so I think what I'll do is just go down our schedule and kind of talk about how these teams did. So. This upcoming week, we've got Gardner-Webb, and what can you say? It's an FCS school. Apparently, they came back from a huge deficit to beat Western Carolina, which is one of the better FCS teams. So, I guess what you could say is that they're one of the better FCS teams in the country, but that's like being the least smelly poop. We'll easily handle them. I don't know. Maybe not easily. Maybe it'll be a struggle bus win or something. But probably not struggle bus, at least past the first half, I wouldn't hope. So we got them coming up next week. Not really much to say about them. Obviously, it gets much more interesting on the week after that with Clemson. Clemson, obviously had the huge game against LSU this past weekend. And look, I'm going to go ahead and say there's a lot of people coming down on Clemson there for losing that game, and they shouldn't have lost. It was at home, and obviously there was a lot of hype and excitement around Clemson going in, and god dang, you losing to Brian Kelly is never – he's the guy that can't win the big game. So that was the prime freaking, moment for Brian Kelly to pull one and lose that game. He's lost every home opener, and now Clemson gives it up. Makes the ACC look bad. Of course, my Jackets represent the ACC in an excellent manner, but Clemson goes ahead and freaking loses to them. So it's very frustrating. I do think that, though, watching that game, I feel like I have the opposite take of a lot of people. Like, I think those were two really, really good teams. Like, that was a playoff game, basically, in my opinion. And I think that their defenses are both elite, is what I was watching. And I'm, a lot more Tech fans are now more confident about the Clemson game, but I don't feel freaking better about the Clemson game. How are we going to move the ball on that defense? Obviously, to beat them, we're going to have to play a perfect game. Like, we're not going to, we're going to need to be not only neutral, but plus in turnover margin. Forget turning it over 3 times. We'll get blown out if we do that. And then penalties have got to get cleaned up too. So not saying that we can't do all that, but even in those circumstances, we're going to have a really freaking hard time against Clemson. I expect to lose that game, honestly. If I'm being, completely honest. I think that LSU and Clemson, those two teams are a little bit out of our league at the moment. So, and that doesn't really have anything to do with what I saw from Tech Friday night. Like, I'm not saying that just because we play bad and turn the ball over or whatever the case. Like, I think I was saying in my postgame video that, I thought that stuff's fixable. And underneath that stuff, we're a damn good team. We went on the road and won. You're not supposed to win a game where you turn the ball over 3 times. So the fact that we won anyway is a testament to how far we've come. But far enough to beat that Clemson team, I'm not so sure. So that's kind of my opinion on Clemson now. We both have basically tune-up games before we play each other, so we won't. That's the only big game we're gonna see out of Clemson so far. So we play them super early in the year, which may be a good thing, maybe a bad thing. I don't know. But as for right now, I'm not so feeling good about that Clemson game. So let me know what you think about the Clemson game in the comments. Obviously, it's the newest one coming up. All right, next is Temple. I think I heard something about them having like a good quarterback and had a good performance. They beat somebody or something or the other. I don't pay too much attention to the group of five. They might be the best smelling turd in the group of five for all I know. And hey, I mean, I would watch out a lot more, obviously, for the best smelling turd of the group of five than the best smelling poop of the FCS, because group of five, the line gets blurred a lot now these days. The line gets blurred between FCS and, FBS, or not FCS and FBS. Well, that too. But on a bigger note, the group of five teams will freaking sneak up and whoop you if you're not careful. So hopefully we take that game seriously. I'm not worried about losing. It's just like they will embarrass you if you give them the chance. So that's Temple. Apparently, they're 1-0. So we're playing one of the better group of five teams and one of the better FCS teams this year. Just our luck. Next is Wake Forest. They played. Who did they play? Kennesaw State, and it was a total struggle bus. Look, man, Kennesaw State had a ton of drama with like firing their coach when they shouldn't have, and they're like a new FBS team. Like Wake Forest, man, you come on, you're struggle busing against Kennesaw State. We're gonna whoop Wake Forest, dude. I'm not worried about Wake Forest at all. I don't think anybody is. They managed to pull out the win. They're 1-0. But god dang, when we played Kennesaw State a couple years ago, we blew them out, and they were a better team. We were a worse team then, and they were a better team than they are now. So, geez, But good job on being 1-0. But this will be definitely a win for Georgia Tech. Next is Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech obviously played a pretty big freaking game against South Carolina on Sunday. That was a good game for the most part. South Carolina kind of pulled away at the end, kind of what you'd expect. Wasn't super impressed with their offense. Obviously, they didn't put up a ton of points. Their defense was able to hold out a little bit. They look kind of mid. And South Carolina is actually a good team, so it's not like it's horrible to lose to them or anything like that. It's just that, Virginia Tech, I didn't see anything out of them that really scared me. So it could still be a toss-up when we play them. We always play them hard and stuff, but as for, I'm one to talk about freaking week one performances, but at least we won. I don't know. Obviously, South Carolina is a much better team than Colorado. But, I don't really think Virginia Tech, they didn't pop up and surprise anybody and beat them, so who knows, they might be mid this year. Speaking of might be mid this year, Duke is next, and god dang, they had a little bit of a struggle bus against Elon, which, like I got done saying a minute ago, lines getting blurred between FCS and stuff lately. That Elon quarterback, like a few years ago, it still goes on, but, with the transfer portal these days, things are different. I remember I was watching this game and I'm like, damn, that Elon quarterback was making impressive plays, and they were fighting really hard, and obviously Duke pulled away at the end. It was close for maybe like 2.5 quarters, so maybe you could say that Duke was playing around with their food too much there, but they did eventually pull away to what looked like a good FBS team. Or FCS team. A lot of times, FCS teams struggle to complete a pass, not like a long pass. Like they struggle to complete passes behind the lines of scrimmage. They're usually completely freaking inept. Nowadays, you're seeing more and more pop up, more and more upsets and stuff like that. So I'm not poo-pooing on Duke. Like you said, they struggle maybe for get their feet under them. It was the first game of the season, so. Struggle to get going for a quarter or two or whatever. So, can't hold that too much against them, but obviously you can't take too much against the game from Elon, but they are 1-0. Next is Syracuse, who got whooped by Tennessee, and I mean, Tennessee is one of the better teams in the SEC, so I don't really obviously hold that against them either, but I don't know, they just really didn't look that great. I feel confident about beating Syracuse too. They've definitely taken a step back from last year. I think last year's squad would have put probably a much better fight up against Tennessee. So I'm not really scared of Syracuse based on what I saw from that game. They kind of got whooped, so that game wound up getting out of hand. NC State played Eastern Carolina, which is, again, a pretty good group of 5 team. They almost lost to them, which is more unacceptable than maybe a struggle bus where you pull away. But, I don't know. First game of the season, whatever you want to say. I'm not scared of NC State whatsoever, even though Eastern Carolina is pretty good. And they freaking beat them the last time they played them. I guess at least they didn't lose to them. But first impressions of NC State, not super freaking, stoked on them. I'm not really impressed. North Carolina played last night, actually. Today's Tuesday. And you're probably thinking, well, we don't play North Carolina. No, but it is funny to laugh at them for freaking getting blown out by TCU. Just like we all said they would. If you don't watch the ACC show on Tuesday nights, which I'm about to hop on here, if you don't watch the ACC show, what are you doing? The ACC show kicks ass, and we all said North Carolina would suck, and lo and behold, they freaking do. They got whooped, and I just had to throw that in there, even though we don't play them. They dodge us this year, but that would be an easy win. Boston College played some FCS team, blew them out. Pittsburgh played some FCS team. I mean, Pittsburgh put like a 60 burger on this FCS team. Like, is that really necessary? Like, I think Pittsburgh might just be filled with evil people. Like, Pittsburgh, why don't you pick on somebody your own size? You're gonna drop a 60 burger on poor old freaking Wagner or whatever the hell it was you played. Like, leave him alone, dude. Leave him alone. You can't carry those points into the next game. It doesn't matter how many points you score as long as you win. But I mean, they I guess felt the need to absolutely drive whatever friggin' high school they played into the dirt. So, congrats for Pittsburgh. And then finally Georgia. Not much to say there either. They blew up Marshall. So whoop-de-doo. So that's kind of a look at the teams that that play week 1 that Tech's gonna play, and maybe let me know if you like this kind of video. I just thought of it. I thought usually when I'm like looking for games to watch, if we play a team, I'm like I'll watch it because I'm like curious to how good they are, and then it helps me kind of have an idea of how good they are, as the season goes, and then when we get to play them, I'm like I have quite a bit of knowledge on them. And I'm more informed. So if you'd like to see that, maybe I could do this again. We can kind of keep tabs on the teams that we're about to play and stuff. Might be cool. So anyway, go Jackets. We're going to beat all these freaking guys, and I'll see y'all next time.